Hi, how are you? Welcome to this video from our podcast channel called Gumball Sports Machine. If this is your first time here, well, if you could go ahead and hit that like, hit the subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. Here's a segment from our most recent podcast. Like and subscribe, like my OG says. Thank you. You have a Tyler Hero jersey on, and he was involved in a blockbuster trade yesterday that included your very close to you Miami Heat. The Miami Heat is the one. They are the winner. They have won the stakes for Giannis Antetokounmpo as they made the big blockbuster trade that we have all been waiting for, and they have now acquired the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo. DLO, I've seen people with mixed emotions on this. I've seen people with the thought that the Heat gave up too much for him. I've seen people that are saying it's Giannis, you give up what you can for him, you figure it out later. And then I've seen, again, it's been very 50-50 if you ask me. This is the spot that I had really seen him going to. Obviously the Celtics were an option. They had, it was reported that they threw in Jaylen Brown and some first round picks and Hugo Gonzalez. The Heat are kind of going the OKC route. They're kind of going the route where you want to build up all these picks, you want to get all these picks, and maybe you turn Tyler Hero into a superstar, maybe, or whatever the case is. But the Heat now have acquired Giannis Antetokounmpo. D'Lo, as a Heat fan, your perspective on acquiring Giannis Antetokounmpo. Pat Riley finally getting the start that he's been looking for so many years.
Yeah, man, there's a lot to unpack here, and I actually want to start with Boston, because I actually think that they're really big losers in this case.
Yeah.
Obviously, the package that was rumored to have been offered, you mentioned Hugo. Um, Hugo was not made available in that final offer package. It was Jaylen Brown and two first round picks. Hugo was considered untouchable in the Giannis package.
Wow.
So if you're Milwaukee, you're looking at it as Jaylen Brown and two future first round picks. Not a bad offer considering Jaylen Brown finished sixth in MVP voting last year.
Yeah.
And he a fantastic player, right? But the thing with Jaylen Brown is that if you're in Milwaukee, I don't know if you're Milwaukee personally, I don't know if you think that he's happy there. If he's unhappy in Boston, right? And he wants to go somewhere, I don't know if Milwaukee's the destination. You're looking at potentially 1 year. They're kind of mid now that they don't have Giannis. The team already is very lackluster, and you're only getting back Jaylen Brown. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's enough to get you any farther than the play in. And if you're Jaylen Brown, that's not something you're looking for. So they risk the cycle of going through this process again. And a year from now, Jaylen Brown requests that. And then you have to do this whole thing over again. And so, from that perspective, it just made more sense to take Miami's offer. It's now being reported that the Celtics are still shopping Jaylen Brown, regardless of, Giannis now ending up in Miami. So, from the looks of it, it looks like Jaylen Brown is 50-50 gone. Shams reporting that, they're listening to offers, but there's still a possibility that they just keep him and roll on. So I think that team chemistry wise, the Celtics are kind of messed up anyway, because now Jaylen Brown is to be leaving and he's probably checked at this point. But yeah, I think just overall big loser for Boston. Getting to the package, right? Because obviously you're looking for my reaction. I'm elated at the package. Okay. I'm ecstatic. And the reason is everyone is talking about how Miami gave up the entire roster.
Mhm.
And to a certain extent, that's true. You gave up Jaime, you give up Khalil, obviously give up Tyler, and you give up Kasparis, who was a rookie last year and showed some pretty good flashes, all things considered. Considering Eric Spoelstra doesn't like to play rookies, and Eric Spoelstra has a problem with the young guys.
Yeah,
And
if you're not the age of drinking, you can't make the
yeah,
rotation.
you can't make the rotation.
Yeah,
And so when you look at it and you say they gave up so much for him, and then you give up the 4 first round picks, so the three and then the pick swap. Um, they're like, that's not the whole team. You guys have nobody. But if you're looking at it from a Heat fan perspective, you keep those guys, you don't get Giannis. You're a play-in team. That team is not getting you to a top 6 seed, and you're kind of stuck in this loop of purgatory, as we call it, where you're a play-in team. You maybe make it as an 8 seed, you play really well, but it's never enough.
yeah,
We finally have some sort of direction. With Giannis and Bam, you have a direction. You're getting ready to compete. And Giannis alone can do that for you. We've seen Giannis in a championship role. And now that we have that, you have a sort of 2 ways. Either Giannis gets hurt and you're at the bottom of the barrel and you kind of suck, or Giannis is healthy and you can end up as a top 4 seed. You're not in the play in purgatory anymore. You've picked a direction and you're kind of just hoping it works out for you. And from that perspective, as a Heat fan, I'm happy about it. You know, we finally have the opportunity to be a good team again. Post Jimmy Butler, it was purgatory. While we had Jimmy, obviously, if you were in the play in, you still had a shot because Jimmy alone turns it up in the playoffs and you have a chance against anybody. But without him, you're kind of just mediocre. So I'm honestly happy with the package. I'm happy. I'm happy that we got Bobby Portis as well out of the package because I think that he can be a nice bench piece when either of them goes to the bench. Um, and really, it's just filling mainly the guard spots. You need some shooters around him, so hopefully that's their priority. But I'm elated, dude.
that is more the response I was kind of not looking for, but like expecting from a lot more Heat fans than I think I got, because this is Giannis. Like, this is one of the best players in the league. This is a top 75 player of all time, an NBA champion, and Finals MVP. He is, again, to a lot of people, yourself included, DLO, a top 5 player in the league. And to your point, the Heat have kind of been in this spot where they've made the plan the last 4 years. You don't really have any, to use your word, direction, right? Okay, well, if you're in the play-in, that means you are kind of in it, kind of not. Are you realistically competing for a championship? No. But are you tanking and trying to get the first overall pick? No. So again, you're in purgatory. A word you use all the time is that area in which you don't really know what you want to do. This gives you something now that you want to do and are going to do. And we talk about it all the time. Giannis is the move that Pat Riley finally made, right? We talk about the Kevin Durant's from a few years ago. We talk about the Damian Lillards from a few years ago. We talk about the Bradley Beals and the DeMar DeRozans and all these stars that have been rumored to want to go to Miami, and Miami has been rumored to go after. Now, this is the biggest one that's ever been rumored to him, and now they got him. And this is Pat Riley's, I think, could be final. Let's go get it. Let's go win one. Let's go win another one. And this is why you require a guy like Giannis. Now, again, you did have to give up a lot. You did have to give up Tyler Hero. And what was the deal? 3 first-round picks?
Yeah,
4
three
first,
first and then a pick swap.
and a pick swap. And so you have to give up a lot. But again, that's what you have to do if you're looking for a generational player. And Giannis is that generational player that's going to help you compete for a championship every single season. Now, we'll talk about here in a minute or two, but that's what you want. That's what you look for. You want someone to help you compete every single season. Thankfully, you're in the East, it's a little bit more open than the West is. Obviously, as we know, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs are very young and they're not going anywhere. Those are the two teams that are just in the Western Conference Finals, and I have a pretty decent feeling we'll see them back there next season. But in the East, yes, I know the Knicks just won the championship. I completely understand that. If you build the right team around Giannis and Bam Adebayo, you compete. You can compete with the Knicks. You can compete with the Celtics. You can compete with the Sixers or the Cavs or whoever it is the Pistons, whoever it is you may be want to be competing.
Thank you.
You know, you know what I'm saying? Like you can compete with the best teams in the East if you have a guy like Giannis on your team. You've seen him do it before. Now, is he a little older? Yes, I understand. So there is risks that come along with the reward that is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Is he going to play in the playoffs? Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to stay healthy? Are you going to have him when you need him the most? That's some of the conversations that we've had to go through while he's in Milwaukee over the past few years. But again, I think this is a risk that Pat Riley needed to take, not only was willing to take, but needed to take. And now that they've taken this risk, now, again, you build the right team around Giannis and Bam. It's a guy who just scored 83 points in a single game last year. And Giannis, again, multi-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, All-NBA guy. And you build around those two guys, and you can compete in the East, DLO. I think this was a great move for the Heat. I agree with you.
Yeah, when you look at it, first of all, through the NBA for not allowing Damian Lillard to come to the Heat because that was his only destination. He wanted to come here, and the
He didn't
NBA
want to go
said
nowhere else.
he didn't want to go nowhere else, and the NBA said, "Nuh-uh, you can't have that." So shout out to the NBA for ruining Dame to the Heat. But again, when you look at it, though, there there was no direction. You can't win with the duo of Bam and Tyler. Those are both number twos. There's no number one. That was Jimmy. Jimmy left. And so now you're looking and you're, as you mentioned, you can't pick a direction because you're always going to be in the play in where you don't have a high likelihood of getting a number one pick for a franchise altering guy, but you also don't have enough to get you the ultimate goal of an NBA chip. And if Pat Riley messed this up, considering Miami was always the forefront of the Giannis rumor, it was always at the forefront. He was going to Miami, and then Boston kind of swooped in there and made it interesting, but it was always rumored to be Miami. If Riley messed it up, I don't think he would have survived until the end of this year. I think Heat fans would have had his head on a pike. It would have happened. He would have been out. Everyone would have been calling for him to quit, but he did. And now, if you're Heat fans, you're kind of just hoping that it works out, right? Because obviously, Giannis the past few years has had a lot of injury concerns, especially around playoff time. He typically, the past few years, has gotten hurt in the first round, and then it just hasn't done a whole lot. Obviously, last year when they lost to the Pacers, he was healthy, but the team around him sucked, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Dame was hurt.
Chris
Then
Middleton
he tried to come back too early, and then obviously we know what happened. He tore the Achilles. And that's just what happens when you have a really bad roster. The Bucks were not constructed very well, and then they tried to get better, and then they still sucked. So,
yeah. Swing and a miss on
Milwaukee-
Miles Turner.
Milwaukee was in the same boat of just being in sort of a purgatory, and so they would rather get these assets now, potentially flip Tyler Hero from what is being reported. I know
Yeah, I've
Detroit
seen
was
that too.
super interested in Tyler Hero to give Cade another, player,
A
ball
1B, like
handler,
number
yeah,
two.
something, because Jalen Duren fell apart in the playoffs.
Horrible.
And they're leaving the trade open until I think they said July 6th. So about a week and a half to see if they can get other pieces circulating. So it wouldn't surprise me if Tyler is rerouted to a place like Detroit.
Gotta find my way to